So if you board a plane in Idaho today, you're taking off in this like 100-degree smoke-filled tinderbox.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Right. And then you land in New York a few hours later and you're stepping out into a 78-degree torrential downpour.
A totally different world.
Exactly. So today's daily Tech Reader weather summary. This is from August 20th, 2026. It's not even really a forecast. It's more like a stress test for a totally geographically fractured continent. So our mission for this deep dive is to basically figure out what this one snapshot of data reveals about the intense extremes that are splitting the U.S. right now.
Well, we're looking at a continent that's locked in this bizarre atmospheric stalemate. Like, the numbers on the screen aren't just isolated local events.
Right.
They're symptoms of a much larger interconnected system that has just essentially stalled out right over our head.
So, well, let's unpack this, because if you look at the Southwest data first, the numbers are just punishing. I mean, Yuma, Arizona is sitting at 111 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Wichita Falls in Texas is at 108. It's like the entire western U.S. is basically acting like a massive convection oven that someone just left on broil.
That is a great way to put it. And what's fascinating here is how the meteorologists categorize it. They use this specific VRYHOT tag.
Right, the VRYHOT tag. I get why Yuma gets that.
Yeah.
But looking at the map, it's aggressively appearing in the humid southeast, too.
Exactly. Places like Charlotte and Columbia and Savannah.
But they're only at like 97 and 99 degrees. Why does a city that's a dozen degrees cooler trigger the exact same severe warning flag?
Well, because human biology cares about a lot more than just the ambient temperature.
Oh, right. Humidity.
Yeah, the VRYHOT flag in the southeast is signaling a dangerous wet bulb temperature. Because in the desert, 111 degrees is brutal, yes.
But it's a dry heat, right?
Exactly. Your sweat can still evaporate and cool your skin. But in Savannah, the high humidity creates this thermodynamic barrier.
Because the air is already totally full of water.
Right. It's so saturated with moisture that your sweat has absolutely nowhere to go. It just traps the heat against your body, and it essentially shuts down your internal cooling system.
Wow, so the meteorological warning isn't just about how hot the air actually is, but how effectively the air stops us from surviving it.
Precisely. It's this relentless thermodynamic feedback loop. The oceans, which are holding record heat right now, they pump massive amounts of moisture inland, which suffocates the southeast instead of just baking it.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. This intense heat doesn't exist in a vacuum. It directly fuels completely different environmental crises depending on where you are geographically.
Totally.
Because the West is baking so intensely, it creates this massive secondary crisis up in the Mountain West and the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
Like, Boise is hitting 100 degrees, but the forecast doesn't actually say sunny. It specifically flags smoke for cities like Casper and Great Falls and Pendleton.
Yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where we see the atmospheric mechanics really at play. Yeah. Because the prolonged heat obviously dries out the vegetation.
Right, making it a tinderbox.
But the reason these cities are actively choking on smoke isn't just because they're close to wildfires. It's the high-pressure dome that's sitting over the west.
Like a giant lid.
Exactly. Think of it like a massive atmospheric lid.
Yeah.
The high pressure forces the air downward, which compresses and heats it even more.
Oh, wow.
But crucially, it traps all that particulate matter right near the surface. The smoke literally just cannot rise and disperse.
So it just sits there. That explains the West. But then you look at the eastern seaboard, and it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's quite the contrast.
From Florida up through the mid-Atlantic and all the way into New York, almost every major city is just getting blanketed in showers and thunderstorms.
It's wild.
How can one half of the country be trapped under this suffocating lid of smoke and heat, while the other half is basically a saturated sponge just wringing itself out?
It all comes down to the jet stream.
Okay.
Normally, the jet stream pushes weather systems rapidly from west to east.
Right, keeping things moving.
But right now, it is highly amplified. So it's moving in these deep north to south waves, and essentially it's stalling.
So that lid in the west is just locked in place.
Locked tight. While a corresponding trough, a low-pressure system, is stuck over the east.
And that's pulling up all the moisture.
Right. It pulls up all that excessive moisture from the superheated Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, and it just continuously dumps it along the coast.
So what does this all mean? Like, whether you're prepping for a cross-country flight or just trying to wrap your head around national weather patterns.
Well, it shows a country experiencing simultaneous opposite extremes.
Yeah, the conveyor belt that mixes our weather is just broken.
Exactly. And this raises an important question, which comes from a really subtle detail in the source.
Oh, you mean the footer on the summary?
Yeah, right at the bottom of the feed,
Yeah.
underneath all this extreme weather data, there are headlines about OpenAI launching GPT 5.6 and these new unified AI workspaces.
Yeah, I saw that it's sitting right below the smoke warnings.
The juxtaposition is just striking. I mean, we are advancing at breakneck speed into this frictionless digital frontier.
Right.
Yet, the physical reality that's required to actually power those servers is becoming increasingly volatile and hostile.
It really makes you wonder. I mean, we're scrolling through our physical reality, these intense, life-altering climate extremes, on the exact same feed as rapid digital AI advancements.
It does.
Does the constant stream of digital breakthroughs somehow numb us to the severity of the physical world breaking down right outside our windows?
That is the ultimate tension of this data snapshot.
Mm.
We're engineering this completely seamless digital existence while our physical environment becomes totally untethered.
Something to think about the next time you check the weather on your phone. Maybe we need to look up from our frictionless screens long enough to actually feel the heat.